Okay, g'day all and welcome to another video. We're going to be doing some Shutterstock today. I'm not much of a photographer, but I tell you what, I really love it. It's just really great fun. So I actually have a cheap macro lens, 35mm Canon macro lens, and I love to just kind of, I don't know, go around and take pictures of bugs and kangaroos, and it's absolutely amazing to think, really, that it's a whole nother world going on down there in the bottom of the garden. What I thought I'd do is just go through a few pictures, yeah, maybe fix them up a little bit. Yeah, let's just have a bit of a look. So this first picture just here, this little guy here, this is we call him a stink bug. Yeah, I don't think he knows, but sorry, little dude. A marmorated shield beetle, maybe something like that. Brown marmorated shield bug. Yeah, so they're everywhere, and usually the first thing that you know when one of these is around, if it's on your shirt or whatever, is there's this really strange smell. I mean, it's difficult to describe, but it's not pleasant. And that's the bug's defense mechanism. Yeah, defense mechanism in action. So what I might do to this, I like things a little bit warmer, so I'll warm him up a little bit. I think that the pattern on his shield is absolutely incredible. Yeah, but the fluorescent colors in those dots, it's absolutely amazing, really, if you get in right close and have a bit of a look. I think it's also incredible, too, that these things look you right in the eye. This guy was looking straight into the lens, or girl, whatever it happens to be. Yeah, so it's fascinating to think that pretty much no matter where you go, there's thousands, millions of little bugs looking at you. We might up the exposure a little bit. Yeah, something like about there, and then we'll come up to contrast. We'll give it a bit more contrast. Something like that. So the program I'm using just here is called Darktable. It's a free, very good raw image editor. I can't recommend it enough, really. It's absolutely fantastic. There's another one called Raw Therapy, which I think is equally as good, but I happen to be used to this one more. Yeah, there's subtle differences between them too. I like the way that Raw Therapy's contrast turns out, but yeah, well, have a bit of a go at both of them if you like. They're both worth doing. Okay, so the other thing I might do is just increase the saturation a little bit. Yeah, that's looking fairly good. I might actually come over here and do a bit of a denoise. You see in this blurred area just here, there's actually quite a bit of noise. Let's see how far we can push this. I don't want to get rid of any of the dots or the detail on his shield. I think about 0.008 is good. And we'll get rid of hot pixels if we can. Yeah, something like that. I think is looking pretty nice for this little guy. We might do a bit of a sharpen just in case we can get back some of the details in those little dots there. Doesn't seem to make much difference. All right, and then we think about the crop and the rotation. So I guess for this image here, I was going for straight on. Yeah, so at the moment he's maybe 5 degrees to the left. Let's see. I'll give him a bit of a rotate. Excuse me, little bug. I think about there is good. Yeah, so we'll hit that one. And then for the crop, I think dead center. Yeah, dead center. So if you are making images for Shutterstock, you have to be careful of the size of them. They have to be at least 4 gigabytes. Or not 4 gigabytes, sorry, they have to be at least 2000 by 2000. All right, but we'll just shrink this in a little bit. We don't want to chop off any of his antennas, but about there I think is a pretty good crop. Yeah, there we go. So I don't know if I'll actually put these pictures up on Shutterstock or if I'll rework them or whatever, but yeah, there we go. A marmorated shield bug. Okay, so this is a baby cane toad right here. It's a baby cane toad. They were introduced to Australia back in maybe the 50s or something. Yeah, up north there's a small town just south of Cairns in North Queensland, and they released a handful of these cane toads to stop the cane beetles. But it's actually become just a massive disaster, really. So the cane toads don't eat the beetles because they can't climb the cane. This is sugar cane we're talking about. Yeah, they don't eat the beetles because they can't climb the cane, but what they do is eat everything else in sight, including all of the food that the frogs need. And yeah, it's quite a disaster, really. I think one of the biggest ecological disasters in human history. Yeah, I hope I'm not exaggerating too much there. It's It's amazing stuff, really. Amazing stuff. Okay, so we might just do a bit of sharpening on him. I might get rid of some hot pixels if there are any. I don't think there'll be any, but let's see. Okay, and we'll do a bit of a denoise. Let's just zoom right in for the denoise because we don't want to lose any detail in him. I think about there is probably pretty good. Yeah, about there. So they actually end up getting poison glands on the side of their head, either side of their head. And yeah, the animals in Australia can't eat them. Yeah, so they've got no natural predators. They just breed, and wow, now there's millions of them, tens of millions, probably billions. Very, very sad. The cane toad. But what to do about it? You know what to do about it? A lot of people go out there and try and eradicate them. I don't know. We can't be nasty to them. I think the reality of the situation is that we brought them here. You know, it's our fault, really. It's our fault. It's not their fault. Yeah. Plus, they're quite cute, really. They're quite cute. Look at that. A little baby cane toad. How sweet. A little baby cane toad. Okay, this fella here. So we call these things water dragons. Yeah, I don't know if they're in a lot of different places, but quite a large lizard. Yeah, quite a large lizard. This is a male just here. You can tell that it's a male because it's substantially larger or thicker, I would say. More robust around the neck region, and it also has a red marking on its chest. Yeah, so if you ever come across a water dragon and you see those things, then you'll know that it's a male. Okay, beautiful colors, really. So we've really got to up the temperature here. I think on my camera, during the time that I was taking these pictures, I wasn't paying attention to the white balance, and I often don't. You know, you don't necessarily take the picture that you want in camera. You kind of take a picture that will give you enough wiggle room to find what you want later. Okay, so the exposure is pretty good right there. Let's talk about the crop. So I really want him to be the subject. I mean, there's nothing else much in the picture. I might put his face dead center. Maybe his eye on the top third line, something like that. Something like that would be pretty good. Yeah, they're really quite friendly up at the beach where they are. I think maybe people feed them all the time. Yeah, so they do actually. They're quite used to humans, and they'll just about walk right up to you and take food out of your hand. But I don't know if it's great for them to feed them chips and things like that with, you know, really high fat content. But let's see, how's this denoise working out? Yeah, not bad. It's just amazing patterns, really. Amazing patterns on these creatures. Just incredible. I'd like to get a really close-up shot of one of their eyes. I think that would be absolutely magic. I mean, you can kind of make it out here, but yeah, a little bit clearer would be good. Anyway, let's see. We'll do a bit of a hot pixels. Get rid of the hot pixels. Let's see if a bit of sharpening helps here too. Just to bring out the detail in those scales. Okay, that's not bad. Maybe about there, I think, is quite nice. Yeah, what size were we looking at here? I can't read it, but that should be pretty good to put up. I don't know if anyone will buy that. You know, who needs a picture of this guy? They should. He's beautiful. Here we go. So we'll go over to this one just here. So this is a female just here. This is a female water dragon. Yeah, I like these shots with the big blurry backgrounds. Yeah, nice foreground and background separation here. So let's get a bit of warmth going here. And we'll come up here to saturation. We'll get a bit more saturation going. And what else have we got? Bit of contrast. Okay, so there's a fair bit of noise in the background there, and you can see also that I didn't really nail the focus here. There's a little bit of movement there, so that's often trouble really for shutterstocking. Yeah, you can kind of get around that by sharpening and shrinking the image, but I do find that there's a limit. You know, there's a limit. Like this is maybe 2-3 pixels out. So in order to get this out of focus image to look sharp, I'd have to shrink my image down 2 or 3 times, and that's just too small really to be useful. Yeah, still it's a nice image from back a little bit, so we'll just crop and rotate. I might rule of thirds on the eye there and see how that looks. Yeah, it doesn't look half bad. This foot is a little bit strange. She must have been just walking up on this thing or something like that. But, yeah, I don't think I can use that picture. Okay, moving on. Okay, so these are, well, it's a kangaroo really, isn't it? Kangaroo. So if you were wondering ever what country What's a Creel comes from, I think I can answer it with this picture. Yeah, I'm Australian, and so is this. So this is a female kangaroo just here, and it's what's called an Eastern Grey kangaroo. Yeah, so they're quite large as far as kangaroos go, but there is a bigger one called a red kangaroo, or the boxing kangaroo, which lives out west, and you don't tend to see those around here. Yeah, but beautiful animal really, just kind of lies around all day and does pretty much nothing. Just kind of lies around eating grass all day. So these pictures here, I had a lot of trouble getting the exposure right. So she was sitting in the shade, but there's sun light on the grass all around this kangaroo. So I don't think I nailed any of these pictures, but still, you know, they're nice. Yeah, they're nice. So I might do a bit of a denoise. Is there any noise anyway? Not really. Get rid of hot pixels. I know some of my images come out with hot pixels. I don't know about this one, but let's see, there's a bit of sharpening. No, she doesn't really need it. Yeah, something like that's probably going to do the trick. I mean, it's not a great shot really, but it's definitely a kangaroo. These ones here I liked. I liked these ones a lot. So they're just funny. These kangaroos are funny to watch. They are funny. They almost look like dogs, you know, with their face, but somehow they're cuter, I think. Yeah, more placid looking than a dog. Not that there's anything wrong with a dog, of course, but... So she was sitting down here and she just started stretching her arms. Yeah, this shot, I love this. I love this. I mean, it's not practical to Shutterstock, but that's a fun shot. Yeah, and you can see in the background just there, that's actually her Joey from maybe last year or the year before. Yeah, so the Joey's growing up and doesn't fit in the pouch anymore, but yeah, that's her Joey just there. Anyway, let's do a bit of white balance and see what happens. Oh, that's better. You can see here the lightness in the background that makes it so difficult to get a good exposure. I mean, realistically, we'd want the kangaroo's exposure to be up there somewhere maybe. But in doing that, you really blow out the background. Yeah, so they're not great shots. They're not great shots, but, you know, kind of nice. Okay, so these ones here, this is called a crab spider. Yeah, I think they're everywhere. I don't know for sure, but something like Tomasidae, Tomasidae, yeah, or flower spider, they're also called. So something I find interesting about these things is they're camouflaged for the flower usually, and they sit there waiting for a bug to come along, and then they gobble the bug up. So what I think is amazing though is the fact that bugs don't see the same way that we do. Yeah, bugs don't see the same way that we do. So we see this as yellow here, and the flower is yellow. So this is, you know, arguably quite well camouflaged. But bugs don't necessarily see like that. So I wonder if this spider also camouflages in the infrared and the ultraviolet. Yeah, I think it must do if it's... oh, there's a hot pixel. Let's get rid of that. Off he goes. Yeah, amazing, beautiful little spider, really. They just sit there on the leaves doing their own thing, sit there on the flowers doing their own thing, but they must be a color that takes into consideration that something like bees or ants see a different spectrum to what humans do. So I find that really fascinating. I find that really, really fascinating. Yeah, it's interesting too that in terms of what humans can see, this spider is not particularly well camouflaged. I mean, he's green, really. Yeah, he's green. Anyway, beautiful little spider. Okay, this is another angle of the same crab spider. You see this sort of thing in macro photography. You see I have millions of shots of the same thing. I'm just trying to get aim yeah, get one of them in focus. So that one's really good there actually, because the focus is right on the crab spider's eyes. Yeah, I think that's a nice shot. I also like the flowers in the background, so let's see if we can get a good crop. I think maybe about there, with the spider on the low third, just looking out into the world. Yeah, I think that works quite well. I don't know if it would be better to go with without that flower in the background there. I kind of like it, so we might keep it. I don't think we really need to change the temperature here. Maybe even make it a little bit colder. I think a touch colder. No real reason, it's just personal preference really. We'll up the saturation. A little bit of contrast. I think maybe quite a bit of contrast actually. Back that off a little bit. So the exposure's not great. Well, we've got a little bit of room in the exposure. I mean, it does look a little bit dark, doesn't it? Maybe just a touch. Better? I don't know. Okay, so we'll come over here and we'll say, get rid of any hot pixels. Quite a bit of noise in the background because they increase the exposure, so we'll get rid of that noise. Got to be careful with this little guy that you don't accidentally denoise his eyes away. It'd be terrible. I'll go to 8. That's pretty much smoothed out the background, I reckon. Ah, there we go. Something like that. Anyway, that's just a little bit of relaxing fun with photos, really. Do Shutterstock if you're not. It's great fun. Good way to share your pictures. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.